how to set up your Microsoft Teams workshop in advance so that you can have as much organised prior to the actual workshop as possible. This means that in the workshop you can just focus on being your brilliant self and facilitating a great workshop without having to think too much about creating whiteboards and polls and breakout rooms. So this is where it begins. We need to actually create our meeting link first of all. So I'm just going to randomly choose something here. You can actually just click on the timing that you want. It all appears. Just double check you've got the right date and time in here. Let's give it a title. So let's just call this test workshop for now. And let's invite some people. Now, just to make the meeting live, you need to invite one person. But if you want to invite everybody that you know is going to be a participant in your workshop, then you can do that from here too. So I'm just going to invite a few of my colleagues to make this live and to show you how we set up breakout groups. Okay, so just 4 people for now, that will do. And when I hit send, that's going to make that meeting live, that link. I can also use that same link if I go back in here to copy and paste. If I just click this, copy this here, then I can copy that into further invites or calendar links. Okay, so what can we do from here? Well, let's take a look at breakout rooms first of all. We know that people new to facilitating in the virtual world, breakout rooms can often feel like a big thing to think about during the workshop when you've got all of the participants on camera looking at you while you're trying to desperately set up your breakout rooms in the moment. So the great news is you can set up at least your first breakout room in advance by clicking the tab at the top here. We'll look at some of these others in just a second. So let's create some rooms. Now we can create as many rooms as we want. We're going to go for 2. Right now, and if I just click add rooms, I've got 2 options. I can assign participants automatically. Now, if I click on that, Teams will just randomly and equally allocate our participants across the 2 rooms. Or we can choose to do this manually. If we do it manually, we get to pick who goes in each room. So let's decide to have Emma and John in a room together. So let's assign those into room 1. And I'm going to assign, we can see now that they're assigned, look, in room 1, Grace and Grace are still unassigned. So let's put those into room 2. Once I click assign, we can see now that each group has 2 participants and no participants appear at the top because they're all in a room. Now, what that means is once we actually begin the workshop, these are ready to go. And at the top right of your screen, when you're live in a meeting, you've got what I call your control panel and you've got your breakout room icon in there. When you click on that, these rooms will be there and ready to go with your participants pre-assigned. If you need to do some editing, you can do that as well. We'll show you that in a separate video. For example, if you get an extra person appear that you weren't expecting, you can still assign those to a breakout room. But ultimately, these are ready to go in your live workshop. All you need to do is hit the word open. You've got an open button and the rooms will open and your participants will be pulled into those rooms. That's it. So 1 click is all you need to make these live in the actual workshop. Some other things that you might choose to do as well is rename the rooms. So let's call this the blue room. And we might want to name the other rooms as well. One of the reasons you might do this is you might choose to not assign participants at this point, but just name the rooms so that when you get to the point where you want to put participants in rooms, you could actually get them to choose which room they go into themselves, depending on what the topic is that's being discussed in each room. You could even have a facilitator or subject matter expert assigned to each room, ready to facilitate that conversation. Okay, so that's breakout rooms. Some other things to note, attendance. So once you've actually ran the session, all the attendees will be logged here for you to check who actually turned up. Whiteboard is a great feature. So if you are live in your workshop, you can share a whiteboard and what you will get is this. So just a blank whiteboard that everybody can collaborate on. But if you want to get ahead of the game, then you can pre-prepare your whiteboard with some sticky notes, images, even documents. Let's just imagine that we want to get a template set up. So Teams has some great templates that we can play with here. We're going to do some discussion around strategy, and there we have a cost benefit analysis template ready to go. I want to get that set up so that when we open this up in the actual workshop, it's ready to go. Now we can actually, we can play with this as well by adding some extra features. For example, we might want to add some more post-it notes. That's fine, we can do that in advance too, but all of that is automatically saved for when you share the whiteboard in your room. The final thing for now to share with you is the chat. You can also see, by the way, you can share files in advance. But what's nice to know about the chat feature is all of the people that you have registered here into your workshop, you can chat with them in advance. The chat is live from the moment you invite them. So you could send them the plan for the workshop, or some pre-reading, or the handout in advance, or even just a nice welcome message encouraging them to join the workshop 10 minutes early for a social coffee and a catch-up. But hopefully this will take some of the headaches out of worrying about what you need to do during the session. You can have all of this organised and ready to go prior to your wonderful workshop that you will be facilitating. So good luck with that.